deliver basic social services and community services to people who are either living in extreme poverty or living in situations that require this sort of support. And of course, the framework is usually access to basic human rights, access to basic services like sanitation, like education, and so on and so forth. The framework is, of course, also the Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals. Besides that, we are very active, and this is the biggest area within which we work is education locally at a national level with all levels of education and schools. We deliver activities ourselves directly with students. We also provide resources to teachers. We have a group of trainers who also provides training to educators, especially on understanding issues related to sustainability, also the link between sustainable development and human rights, especially the global phenomenon of forced migration. So we understand, or we try to understand and shed light on issues related to why people feel that they have to leave their country, move around, try to find a better life for themselves and for their families, and how this links with unsustainable practices around the globe, but at all levels, so also local, regional, national, and international levels. And then locally, we also have the third aspect of our work, which is refugee support. We provide basic services to refugees and asylum seekers. And we also have a very specific focus on unaccompanied minors and children in general, and also their families. So that is an overview of the work that we do as an organization. I will now present very quickly the project within which this training is being organized. I've already mentioned that this is called Snapshots from the Borders. And I have a quick presentation to share with you. Is it visible to everyone? Okay.
Yes.
So the project Snapshots from the Borders is implemented in Malta by us, Kopin, together with the Malta Local Council. It is an EU-funded project and also co-financed by the co-financing fund managed by the Ministry of Education and Employment and the Parliamentary Secretary for Youth, Sport and Voluntary Organizations. The focus of the project is to support small towns around Europe facing the global challenges of Agenda 2030, with a specific focus on issues related to migration. The project is being implemented in 14 different EU member states, among them Malta, and the lead agent of the whole project is the municipality of Lampedusa and Linosa, which is an island neighbor to us and one of the main entry points to migrant arrivals into the European Union. The project is implemented by a huge consortium in terms of such projects. In fact, we have close to 30 partners actually, which have grown in the meantime, and they are almost equally split between municipalities and NGOs. The idea behind the project is to work together to improve our understanding of the issues related to migration flows, especially from a global level, but it also trickles down ultimately to the European, through the national and the local level. That's why there is the involvement of the municipalities who were chosen or invited to be part of this project, specifically because they are towns, municipalities, they are cities that are at the forefront of the phenomenon. They might not be strictly or geographically on the borders, but they are on the metaphorical border, as in they are the first localities to have to deal with the challenges and the opportunities of migration. Usually there are towns that house, for example, reception centers and have to face, as I've already mentioned, the first impact, let's call it like this, of arrivals of asylum seekers. And the project looks specifically at 5 SDG SD goals, which are SDGs 1, 5, 10, 11, and 16, which is reducing poverty, achieving gender equality, reducing inequalities within communities, but also at an international level, achieving targets for sustainable cities and communities, and promoting peace, justice, and strong institutions. Some of the activities that we've been implementing in this project, which has started in September of 2017, and we are now in its 4th and final year, are documentaries, for example, showing the phenomenon of migration. There have been also a number of campaigns at town level, which we are calling No More Bricks in the Wall. We've been training staff and councillors of local authorities. We've organized together with local councils festivals. We've had also field exchange visits with other local councils. For example, the local councils of Marsa, of Msida, of Gżira have received colleagues from our Bulgarian partners from Burgas and also from Hungary. We've managed to launch a formal network of municipalities that have created this border towns and islands network, which will continue beyond the life of the project as a means of collaboration and networking between the municipalities. And hopefully, we're also looking forward to have the opportunity to visit also our partners in African countries like Kenya, like Ethiopia, like Senegal. Of course, and unfortunately, in a way, this has been delayed, and it is as long as COVID permits us to implement such travels. We've also had a number of advocacy actions, both at national level, but also at EU level. So we've presented the agenda of the Border Towns Network at the European Parliament. We've had a number of such occasions to present our work to national and European leaders. That's it from my end in terms of the overview of the project. As you might be aware, this training is all about advocacy, and advocacy at the local level. So it's mainly about how local councils can organize themselves, can have an internal discussion, have an internal plan of how to engage with, not only within the community, but also how to engage with the central government. In this sense, one of the tools that we want to bring more awareness about is the local integration charter that has been launched in the last years by the central government, and which requires our local councils to have this sort of plan. I think at this point, it's better if I leave the floor to our facilitators, James and Antoine, which will guide you through the remaining of the training. Maybe some ground rules before I stop myself. It's let's of course keep a respectful tone in our discussions. It's very important to listen, first of all, to each other. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to use the different options available. You can raise your hand, you can submit questions on the chat, and we will take care of bringing these to the attention of the facilitators. You can also perhaps stop the facilitators if there's something really urgent that you need to address and clarify. Antoine, James, I don't know whether you want to add anything.
No, I think that was a thorough introduction. Thank you, William, and thank you for this opportunity. I would also like to welcome many familiar faces from different countries as well, not only from the local councils, which is good because the content is also about networking, and we would like everybody to use this as an opportunity to get to know each other. Hopefully you, in case if anyone wants to share contacts and maybe URL of your organization in the chat, you can do so. Please feel free to do that, because the value of this is not only that we meet, but also that whoever wishes to continue with contacts, that would be more than nice and more than part of a positive result out of this short session.